What if your learning potential was something you didn't even know? What if it was impossible for you to know what you could achieve in the span of a few years? According to Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, that situation I mentioned isn't hypothetical. There are many of us who don't know where our work or effort would take us, but there are those who do know. How much people can achieve comes down to their mindset, a growth mindset. Dweck outlines all of this in her book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. In the book, she outlines what a fixed mindset is and how a growth mindset thrives from challenges and failures alike. But there is more than Dweck's research and analysis. There is a lot of information outlining how beneficial having this type of mindset can be. Today, we are going to tell you 15 ways that you can use to make a growth mindset. But before that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Number 1, focus on your effort. Effort is an obvious one, but in terms of a growth mindset, it's one you have to be careful about. While we will be working towards our goal regardless, there are elements along the way that can disrupt us. For example, consider praise. Praise can help us in pushing forward. After all, we all love a nice pat on the back or some words of encouragement, but it's something that you have to be careful about. Number 2, ask different questions. Questions are the building blocks of learning when you think about them. Going back to what I mentioned above, when we push ourselves to just try harder next time, we're not learning anything. Instead, whenever you fail, reword your questions. Ask yourself, what could I do differently? Or what worked and what didn't? This strategy helps with kids, so they're not working hard and getting similar results. This applies to adults as well. Number 3, get feedback proactively. Those questions are part of feedback, of course, but you can always look for feedback in other ways. When you have a growth mindset, it's almost instinct that you look for feedback. For some, it's akin to looking for new challenges. Number 4, be persistent with your purpose. Part of learning is failing and getting back up and trying again. It's persistence at its core, but you do need to be cautious. As I hinted at with asking questions, you don't want to fall into a loop where you're doing one thing over and over again and getting nowhere. That's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same work but expecting different results. Instead, make sure that you're moving forward with a purpose. Number 5, do things that are tough. Those who have a fixed mindset will avoid tasks that present challenges to them. They would rather stick with what they're comfortable with. Instead of doing that, throw yourself into the deep end, even in situations where you're not fully aware of what you need to do. I'm not saying do anything reckless, but rather be strategic with them. Ask yourself if you could see yourself getting into that type of work or doing that project. If you have a passion for it, then you're going to learn more about it, even though at that moment you don't have the skills to handle the job well. Number 6, have high standards. Having high standards for ourselves has more weight than you can imagine. For some, it could be stressful, but I'd put those standards into something you are passionate about and want to get better at. Take a study that focused on limits, for example. It focused on a group of cyclists who were told to bike as hard as possible for 4,000 meters. Later on, those same participants were asked to do the same track and were given an avatar to race against. Number 7, rewire your mindset. Our mindsets are all based on what we believe and think. With this in mind, there are a number of things you can work on to rewire your mindset. Some things to consider are: acknowledge your faults and look for ways to overcome them. Look at challenges as opportunities. Replace the word failing with learning. Redefine genius, too. Being a genius requires hard work. It's not some unobtainable talent. Seek criticism as positive, too. Number 8, don't look for approval all the time. This could also be considered as a way to be more independent when it comes to approval. When we place our efforts toward pleasing a person other than ourselves, we start to lose ourselves. Instead of focusing on what others think, focus on your own learning and growth in the area. Number 9, enjoy the process over the result. While the end results are great, that's not the reason we pursue learning and growth. Yes, there are more perks, but the end results are fleeting, and often people who do something for the sake of end results find themselves stalled. They're stuck and not sure what to do next. Number 10, spend more time in reflection. Self-reflection is an invaluable tool. It provides opportunities for us to ask ourselves questions. We can also use it as a means to rewire ourselves and to see things in a new light as well. You can use the reflection time to learn and to process what you are learning. Number 11, seek expert help. If you're struggling in an area, Sometimes you need someone more skilled in the field to show you the ropes. That's self-improvement at its core. Number 12. Abide by brain plasticity. It's a fact that our brain isn't fixed. It's always making new pathways and is expanding in its own way. Our minds shouldn't be fixed either. Number 13. View improvement as separate from failure. We are quick to assume room for improvement is another way to say we failed or are a failure. That's not the case at all. Train yourself to see it for what it is, room for improvement and growth. Number 14. Start saying yet more or not yet. It's a powerful phrase because it leaves room for growth. You have not yet reached where you want to be. Sounds powerful, right? Number 15. Learning from others' mistakes. There have been people over years and decades who have gone the same way you're going now. Sure, there may be differences and their journey took different turns, but you can still learn. Don't go and compare yourselves to them, but look at those stories to remind yourself that other people have the same weaknesses as you do. So these were the 15 ways that we gathered to our list that you can use to make a perfect growth mindset. We hope you liked the video, and if you found it useful, give this video a huge thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos.